Hi guys, welcome to Blue Fire Toys and Collectibles, a new channel by an adult collector for adult collectors. Today we're going to be looking at the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Series Godzilla 2021 from the 2021 movie Godzilla vs. Kong. First, I want to give a little background on the figure. This figure was released back in 2022. As soon as it went up for pre-order, I ordered mine from Big Bad Toy Store, and I received it back in mid or late December of 2022. I paid $51.99 with $4 flat rate shipping plus tax on top of that. So total, I paid right around $60 for mine, which is actually a pretty good price, all things considered, for a Godzilla like this. So without further ado, let's take a look at this guy. First impressions wise, right after I got it, I'm not going to lie, I was a little disappointed. I wasn't really expecting much from Hiya at the time. I'd actually never heard of the company back then. And I thought it was just going to be another average, run-of-the-mill, posable Godzilla figure attempting to compete with SH Monster Arts, sort of like NECA had been trying to do a few years earlier. So my overall first impression of the figure was actually not great. But then when I took a closer, more in-depth look at it, my opinion began to gradually change for the better. So why don't we take a look at the detail work on this guy? Let's get a look here on his dorsal plates first. You can see there's so much texturing and detail. Really well done. It's like that across the entire body. There's a lot. You get the scaled, gnarled look. Let's move him so you can see better. Hopefully it'll focus on his head there. Now you can see the detail work throughout the figure is really, really good. Particularly the tail, which is actually my favorite part of the figure. I just think the tail is really well detailed. The legs, both sides, here, the arms, the head, the neck. Again, other side of the dorsal plates. Top down, my main dorsal plate there, you can see is bent. I've tried to fix it. Does not want to stay fixed, but that is what it is. Now, I gotta be honest, the main problem I do have with this sculpt is the head and the neck. As you saw before, the head is not entirely accurate to how this Godzilla appears in the movie. Particularly, right here, this backmost tooth, right where my thumbnail is pointing, right there, the backmost one there, that just seems a little too big for me, and I think overall the head actually looks a little cartoony. It looks almost like it doesn't fit to this figure, especially with the profound neck gapping. No matter how you pose it, you see the neck gapping where the head and neck meet. So that was disappointing too. But as far as the issues with the sculpt are concerned, it's really only in the head. And Hiya actually did fix this problem down the line, which I'll get to in a moment. But I have to say, even if the sculpt does fall down in some parts, like I said, the head and the neck area, where this figure really shines is the articulation. It actually does have a pretty phenomenal range of motion. So let's start with the tail. As I said before, this is my favorite part of the figure. Tail is very posable, and it will hold that pose up, unlike some other figures on the market right now. You can bend it down and get it pretty flat, actually. The only real issue I have here is because the detail work, the texturing, and the sculpt, you can't really get it up as high as I would like, but decent trade-off is the actual posability. I tend to have mine posed curved like that because I think it lends a sense of motion to the figure. I tend to have him posed in like he's running towards King Ghidorah or Mecha Godzilla, like he's running into battle. Now the legs. The hips are on a ball joint. They get a pretty good range of motion. They can actually go full 360 if you need that to. The knee, double hinge right there, bends pretty well. On mine, the left side doesn't bend as well as the right side. The ankle also on a ball joint, it can go a full 360. On mine, the left ankle is actually more posable than the right ankle. The right side is the same thing, except not as posable. The waist is actually a pretty good range. You can go down that much. So you can put them in one of the after battle kind of Godzilla resting poses. You can go up, but one of the main issues, you can't get them up in the full King of the Monsters roaring to the heavens pose because of the way the neck articulates, which I'll get to in a second, and the dorsal plates here hit against one another, so it can't really go back as far as I would like it to. Now onto the arms. The arms can rotate also a full 360. They are on ball joints. They go out like that. The elbows are on hinge joints. They can rotate all the way around. It's a little difficult to do that, so I'm not going to show you. The hands rotate full 360 on ball joints. They don't go up that far. They tend to pop off because the way the forearms here are sculpted. There's a good attacking pose for you. Now on to the main issue with this figure. The head and neck articulation. You can see, as I mentioned before, you can't get them up in the King of the Monsters roaring to the heavens pose. You can't really get them into a decent swimming pose or lying down pose. You can bend to the left. Mine actually bends to the left better than it does to the right, it seems. It goes up and down pretty well. One thing that's awesome, the tongue is articulated, can move pretty well. And when you close the mouth, it goes back to normal. So that's cool. Now, Hiya fixed this later in a re-release of the figure where they completely revamped the head and the neck sculpt. And I'll show you a comparison in a moment. Another issue here. You can actually see the hinge. I think they're all like that, but at least on mine it's pretty visible. You can see the hinge on the lower jaw. Now, as for accessories, unfortunately he didn't come with anything, which is, again, a bit of a disappointment. But if you're an avid collector of monster arts or NECA like me, you'll have no shortage of acceptable heat ray effects to pose them with if you choose. I think this figure looks good with them. I think it looks good without them. So that's up to you. Now let's take a look at how he scales with some other figures, both from the Hiya line and from some other lines like Monster Arts. Here we have Hiya Godzilla 2021 with the SH Monster Arts Mecha Godzilla 2021, both from Godzilla vs. Kong. As you can see, the Hiya Godzilla actually does stack up pretty well scale-wise with the Mecha Godzilla 2021. So if you weren't able to pick up the accompanying Godzilla figure to this Mecha Godzilla figure, this Hiya Toys figure is actually a pretty good alternative. Here we have Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Godzilla 2021 with the SH Monster Arts Godzilla 2019 from King of the Monsters. I know they're not from the same movie, but because the SH Monster Arts does not have the blue dorsal plates, I wanted to show as close to the same comparison as I could for scale in this case. And here's a special treat for everybody. Fresh out of storage, the NECA Godzilla 2019 with the Hiya Godzilla 2021. And here we have two Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Series Godzillas The one on the left is the original release 2021 version. The one on the right is the re-release 2021 version. As you can see, taking a look at the neck on the one on the right, Hiya did fix the issues. And again, I will get into this figure in the not too distant future. So overall, my final thoughts on the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Series Godzilla 2021 first release from Godzilla vs. Kong. Do I think this figure is worth tracking down? I'm going to be perfectly honest, no, I do not. If you're looking to get into Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic line of Godzilla figures, I would recommend picking up the re-release version of this figure, where they corrected the mistakes with the neck. There's an upcoming release, the pre-evolved version of Godzilla from Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, which looks pretty good. I would recommend one of those. I will be reviewing those in the future once I get them. The re-evolved version I do not have right now. I do have it on pre-order. But back to this guy, I'm glad I do have it in my collection, as I'm looking to collect all the Hiya Godzilla Exquisite Basic figures. But he is sold out just about everywhere right now, and the aftermarket prices that I've seen are not great. So my advice, again, pick up one of the upcoming MonsterVerse Hiya Godzillas, or if you've been able to track this one down, you really want it because you want to collect them all like me, go for it. It's a good figure, especially for the original $60 I paid for it. It is a solid figure. So guys, that's really about all I have to say for this figure. Please, if you like what you see here, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. This is a new channel, so please spread the word. And I hope this has helped in your collecting endeavors, and I will see you in the next one.